You have 7 seconds. That's how long it takes for someone to decide if you're confident or weak, trustworthy or fake, attractive or forgettable. 7 seconds, often less, and the judgment is already forming in their mind. And here's the most unsettling part. Once that first impression is made, your chances of changing it drop by nearly 80%. Think about that for a second. How many doors have you never even known were closed? You were before you even spoke. Pause this for a moment and hit the like button if you've ever walked away from a conversation wondering, did I ruin that moment without even knowing? Because today, you're going to learn the real psychology behind why people judge so quickly and how to make their snap judgment work in your favor without being fake, manipulative, or exhausting yourself trying to impress everyone. Here's the first truth. Fast judgment is not a flaw. It's a survival mechanism. Your brain, my brain, everyone's brain is constantly asking one question about every stranger. Are you safe? Are you a threat? And it does this by scanning for signals, posture, tone, micro-expressions, thousands of them, processed below conscious awareness. That's why people will say, I don't know, I just got a bad vibe, when really, their brain was running a centuries-old risk assessment algorithm in the background. But here's where it gets interesting. The snap judgment is almost never about who you are. It's about who you remind them of. That coworker who didn't warm up to you? Maybe you share a facial expression with someone who betrayed them once. It's that stranger who instantly smiled. Maybe your voice matches someone they trusted. First impressions are often memory-based projections, and you're walking into them without ever being consulted. So the first psychological lever you can pull is this. Manage what you can control. Stop trying to control what you can't. You can't rewrite their history, but you can influence the signals you send, and the fastest, most powerful one. Eye contact, but not the kind you think. Most people overdo it, staring as if intensity equals confidence. But research shows the sweet spot is simple. Meet their eyes for just long enough to register the color, then gently look away. That microbeat of presence says, I see you. I'm not performing. And here's a hook you won't expect. What you think is your first impression often starts before you enter the room. People are judging your silence, your posture when you're not on, second you walk in scrolling. Your phone, shoulders caved, your first impression has already started, and you haven't said a word. So here's the trick that instantly tilts the odds. Enter spaces as if you already belong in them, not arrogantly. Just as though the room was expecting you. Shoulders back, small breath in, chin level not up, not down. That's not charisma. It's a primal signal of non-threat and self-assuredness. But maybe you're thinking, okay, posture, eye contact, that feels surface level. What about the moments when I actually speak? This is where the real psychology hits. Studies from Princeton and Harvard show that in the first minute of interaction, people aren't judging your intelligence. They're judging your intentions. Warmth first. Competence second. That means your first words matter less than your first vibe. If you open with perfect phrasing but your energy feels cold, you lose the room. But if your energy signals warmth, a slight smile, a calm tone, your actual words get a grace period. People want to believe in those who feel safe. Now let me give you a twist. Probably haven't considered. Over-explaining kills first impressions faster than silence. Why? Because it signals insecurity. Your brain is screaming, please. Don't misunderstand me. But confident people know they can clarify later. They let space breathe. Here's a mini challenge. In your next conversation, say one sentence less than you feel you need to. Watch how it pulls people in instead of pushing them away. And here's a dark side nobody talks about. First impressions are not fair. They are full of biases, race, gender, age, attractiveness, even the time of day. But pretending that doesn't exist doesn't protect you. Awareness does. If you know the deck is biased, you stop personalizing every cold reaction. Sometimes you weren't the problem, their lens was. So how do you create a first impression that sticks without selling your soul? It's not about being the loudest or the most charming. It's about being readable. People fear what they can't quickly categorize. So if you walk in trying to be mysterious, aloof, unreadable, their brain will fill the gap with suspicion. If you want to be remembered positively, be simple first. It's complex later, because here's the punchline. The brain loves patterns. And in those first seconds, it's asking, do you match a safe pattern or a risky one? Most counterintuitive part of all, sometimes the best first impression isn't polished. It's slightly flawed. A stumble, a laugh, a human moment. These create what psychologists call the pratfall effect. People find you more likable when your confidence is real enough to survive imperfection, and that's where we'll go. Next, the hidden moments. When trying too hard backfires, and the rare, almost unfair moves that make people feel like they've known you for years in the first 90 seconds. Asterisk, asterisk, because here's the paradox. The more you chase a perfect first impression, the more people feel you're hiding something. Humans have a radar for authenticity, and perfection trips the alarm. It feels rehearsed. The real mastery isn't in flawless presentation. It's in calibrated vulnerability. Not oversharing, not dumping your insecurities. It's just one small real thing that says, I'm not performing a version of me. This is me. Think of the last person you met who made you feel instantly comfortable. Is it because they were flawless, or because they felt real? Maybe they stumbled over a word and laughed at themselves. Maybe they admitted they were a bit nervous too. A tiny crack makes people lean in, not away. But let's get even more psychological. First impressions are sticky because of something called the halo effect. If someone decides you're competent, they're more likely to assume you're kind. If they decide you're kind, they're more likely to think you're trustworthy. One positive signal spreads like a halo, but so does a negative one, which means your first impression isn't just a moment. It's the lens through which every moment after it gets filtered. So how do you trigger a positive halo on purpose? The fastest path is emotional contagion. Humans mirror emotional states unconsciously. It's called limbic resonance. You walk in tense, they feel tense. You walk in grounded, they exhale without knowing why. That's why fake confidence doesn't work. People don't read your words. They read your nervous system. Here's a psychological trick that elite negotiators and diplomats use. The 2-second rule. Before you speak in a new setting, exhale slowly and let there be 2 seconds of pause. That tiny delay slows your cadence, deepens your voice tone, and signals, I'm not here to rush. I'm here to connect. In a world addicted to speed, slowness reads as strength. But what if you've already made a bad first impression? Here's the hope. First impressions are sticky, not permanent. The fastest way to rewrite them is an apology. It's consistency over time. Show up with the same energy enough times, and the brain has to update its file. People can't hold cognitive dissonance forever. Now, a question to flip this entire conversation on its head. If first impressions matter so much, why do we almost never practice them? We rehearse speeches. We plan outfits. We don't train the muscles of first contact, eye contact, open posture, calm breath. These are trainable. When you train them, they stop being fake. They become your default. And here's the part that will either liberate you or unsettle you, or both. No matter how good you get, you will still be misjudged sometimes. Because other people's impressions are never just about you. They're about their fears, their history, their biases. The goal is not to control every perception. The goal is to own your presence so fully that you stop auditioning for approval. Imagine this. You walk into a room, and yes, people are forming their snap judgments. But this time, you're not scrambling to prove them wrong. You're giving them clear signals. And then you're living your truth long enough for the real you to emerge. That's not a performance. It's power. So the next time someone says you only get one chance to make a first impression, remember that chance starts before you speak, lasts only seconds, and echoes for months. And you are not powerless in that equation. You have levers, posture, breath, warmth, eye contact, calibrated authenticity, emotional pacing. These are not tricks, they're translations. They translate the best parts of you into a language the brain understands instantly. And before you leave this video, here's the one question to carry into your next encounter. Am I trying to be impressive? Or am I trying to be understood? Because one builds a mask, the other builds connection. If this spoke to you, if you've ever felt misread, underestimated, or invisible in those crucial first moments, leave a comment with the one thing you're going to try differently next time. Not in theory, in practice, because you're first. Impression isn't just about how they see you, it's the start of how you allow yourself to be seen.